invite you all to please come back tomorrow and join us at 9. But we have another 4 fabulous panels coming up. And I want to show you something that I just got in my hot little hands, which is the book that this conference is going to highlight. The book, unfortunately, will not be ready until 2009, but indeed, for those of you who are interested in this topic, whether reading about it, teaching it, or studying it, hopefully soon you will be able to have your very own copy of Small Screen Big Picture. So thank you, Karen, our publisher. And thank you, Heather Osborne-Thompson, who is visiting us from Cal State Fullerton to moderate the panel. I know she's going to keep everyone in line just as Anthea did last night. We believe in people speaking pithily. And I hope that everybody enjoys it. Thank you for coming.
Thanks again for coming. Thanks for having me, Diane. What I'd like to do is introduce all the panelists and the titles of their papers, and then we'll begin, and then we'll have the discussion after all the papers are done. Okay. Our first panelist is Sheila Briggs, who teaches religion and gender studies at USC. She's a feminist theologian and historian of early Christian and 19th century theology. And she's currently writing a book on the moral and religious themes in Xena, Warrior Princess. And she'll be presenting a paper called Elect Xena God, Religion Remixed in a Post-Television Culture. Our next presenter, Anthea Butler. She's an assistant professor of religion at the University of Rochester. She writes on African American religious history, gender, and her latest book is Women in the Church of God in Christ, Making a Sanctified World. And she will be presenting a paper entitled All This Has Happened Before, Gender and Religion in Saving Grace and Battlestar Galactica. And our final presenter is Heather Hendershot, who is from Queens College and is also the editor of Cinema Journal and the author of Saturday Morning Censors, Television Regulation Before the Beat Ship, and Shaking the World for Jesus, Media and Conservative Evangelicals. And she'll be presenting a paper entitled You Know How It Is with Nuns, Religion and Television's Sacred Secular Fetuses. And then finally, our respondent, Sarah Banet Weiser, who is, as I shuffle my papers, is an associate professor at the Annenberg School for Communication and American Studies and Ethnicity at USC. She's also, she's the author of The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, Beauty Pageants and National Identity, and also Kids Rule, Nickelodeon and Consumer Citizenship. So thanks very much. So are you ready, Sheila?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we go to the front to speak? I think people can hear me better with here. Yeah. Okay, Elect Xena God. I took the mandates of the editors of our volume seriously. Used the category of lived religion for the analysis of the genre of television drama. Later, we got an additional task of relating all of this to the world after 9/11, and I'm writing about a television series which finished its first run in syndication a few months before September 11, 2001. And now I have the additional assignment on this panel to talk to you about the TV series Xena Warrior Princess in the context of religion and gender. Now, the last you would think is easy. After all, the main protagonists of the series, Xena and Gabrielle, were women, and quite a few feminist slogans were smuggled into the episodes. However, my essay is largely not about whether the show empowers women, nor about how it represents women. Rather, I look at how Xena Warrior Princess destabilizes gender by letting female bodies do the work, indeed the redemptive work, that has not only been restricted in the past to male bodies, but also has been the definition of masculinity itself. Watching television is an everyday practice, admittedly not one of those everyday practices that one would normally come under which one would normally put under the category of lived religion. But in cult TV shows like Xena Warrior Princess, what they do is they offer their audiences the opportunity to connect their ordinary lives to the narrative of a hero, through whom they can vicariously experience a reality that transcends the ordinary. My colleague in feminist theology, Emily Culpepper, once remarked that there could never be a female hero. This was before Xena Warrior Princess aired, and Superwoman notwithstanding, what she meant was that the hero is everything that a patriarchal culture does not expect a woman to be. Engaged in military combat, endowed with great physical strength and endurance, and sexually potent. Now, Xena has all of these characteristics, but her body is also that which is the antithesis of the heroes. It is a mother's. Xena Warrior Princess began airing in 1995, and in cult TV of the 90s, such as the earlier Babylon 5 and the later Farscape, we find the story of heroes who are torn away from their everyday world and, thanks to the new technology of digital special effects, are placed in hyper-fantastic worlds. They have to redeem the ordinary world that they cherish by giving up their ordinary lives within it. The emergence in the mid-90s of this trope of the ordinary person transformed into a hero in a hyper-fantastic world occurred at the moment when awareness of the consequences of rapidly accelerating technological advances became widespread. Our real and not very distant future is more fantastic than the imaginary futures of earlier science fiction. The limitless malleability of human bodies and material culture generates anxiety about a post-human future. Popular culture addresses these anxieties about the future. The ordinary person painfully transformed into a hero who mediates between the fantastic and the mundane. The heroic becomes the boundary between everyday life and what I call the secular transcendent, the realm of unconstrained and therefore unimaginable possibility. In the earlier series, Babylon 5, you had on television something that placed the spiritual in the foreground and wove religious imagery and themes into its central storylines. Xena Warrior Princess goes one step further and uses traditional Catholic Christian imagery for its main protagonist. Xena and with her Gabrielle are crucified and raised from the dead. Let me stress, Xena and Gabrielle are never explicitly named Christ at any point in the series. The identification of Xena and Gabrielle with Christ occurs entirely through the visual language of the narrative. Now, early Christianity understood Christ's nature and work in the light of ancient Greco-Roman traditions of the hero. Christ became depicted as the greatest hero, the ultimate theos aneia, a Greek word meaning literally divine male. Up to this day, the Roman Catholic Church holds that masculinity is intrinsic to Christ's redemptive humanity. Now, that's why you can't have women priests. So when